all?
Living the dream.
Okay, so me and Craig talked about how I would do the training, and we feel that it would be in the best interest if we did the training where as if I'm a technician, I'm going into the home, Craig is my patient, so I'm going to show you how to do everything with Craig being my patient, the steps that you would take, and also I'm going to show you how to set the equipment and everything, and all in the same time. If you guys have any questions, maybe we could hold them till the end. I need to tighten this up too. Maybe we could hold them until the end, just because it will be difficult for me to go back and forth and know where that I left off with the patient. Is everybody good with that?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yeah, but the patient's not going to do that. Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm going to just act like I'm a technician and Craig is my patient. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Hi, Craig. I'm Maria from ABC Healthcare.
How you doing?
I'm doing good, thank you. I'm here because I need to teach you how to use this compressor so that you'll be able to use it for your wife when she comes home with her trach.
Okay.
Okay, what the compressor does is it's a cool mist. So it'll help with any plugging, which you guys want to work with, that's heart or respiratory. But so this is a cool mist compressor that you're going to be using whenever your wife is going to be on the trach collar. Okay, so I'm just going to show you. You guys are each going to have in your tubing. You want to remember that with your tubing, it has to be long enough so that the patient isn't stuck to the machine, but not too long. So sometimes when I go to the houses, I see 4 and 4. That's short. So I always fix it and cut 6 and 6. You just want it long enough so that the patient can be away from it and that they not be subject to be stuck to this. Okay? This machine needs to be placed on the either on a hard surface, cannot be on no blankets or anything like that because it will overheat. You also want to make sure with the compressor that it has space around it so that it can breathe. Okay, so that the air can run through and it doesn't overheat the motor. Okay, I'm back here. There's a few things that you'll want to check and keep clean, which is very important because if these get dirty, it'll make the machine run harder, and you want the best out of your machine. So you have 2 filters. Okay, you can wash this with warm soapy water, rinse it really good, squeeze it, let it dry before you put it back in here. Okay, once it's dry, then you can put it back in. In this, you can just take it over a garbage can and just break off the dust of it. I usually don't wash these, but you can if you need to. Just depends. If you keep up on it, you won't have to. It won't get that dirty. Okay, and then back here you have your plug, which once I plug it in, you can leave it plugged in all the time if that's the area you're going to keep it in. So this is back here. We have a plug right here. This could be a troubleshooting. You need to make sure that this plug matches in here and is plugged in very good so that that will run your machine. So go ahead and take that out and put that back in for me so you can feel how it's got it. You feel how it pushes right in?
Yep.
Okay. And I'm going to plug the machine in. Trip myself. Okay, so now this is the front of the machine. The main thing that you need to know about the front of the machine is how to turn it on, and how to turn it off, okay? And that this right here is where you're going to put your bottle, your bubble bottle, okay? Your large volume nub, okay? But first, before you do that, the technician has to set it. So the way you're going to set this, in the PSI you're going to go between is 12 and 15, okay? That's going to be what you want your PSI right here to read. Okay, so you're going to turn it on. You're going to unlock it. So this should be pushed into lock so they can't change it. You're going to pull it out, unlock it. Then you're going to put your finger on this. Okay, and then you're going to turn your dial. Can you guys all see that?
Is she wearing gloves? That way they can always increase it.
You're not going to do this as a patient. So I set it. Can you see that?
Yes.
Everybody see where it is?
Yes.
Hold it. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so now I know that it's set good. Okay, now I'm gonna push it in and lock it because you don't want the patient to be changing this or the family members, okay? So you're gonna have your large volume neb, and with your large volume neb, you have some numbers up here, okay? You have your numbers. You're gonna wanna set it between 35 and 40, okay? When the RT goes back out, if it needs to be adjusted, they will adjust it. So simple. PSI, 12 to 15. Water bottle, 35 to 40. Okay? All you guys have to do after that, it'll be the therapist going out 72 hours. Within the 72 hours, they will adjust any adjustments that need to be done. Okay? So when you're telling the patient, you're going to thread this on here. You want to be very cautious that you do not cross thread it, because then this bottle will no longer hold the pressure. Okay? So you want to get it up on there and do it. And I'm going to let you do it also because it's very easy to cross thread. So if you just kind of let the bottle hang and don't put the bottle straight up to it, can you guys hear me? It'll thread nicely. But if you try to push the bottle up in there, you're more likely going to get it to cross. You can try that. Because you're going to be changing the bottles, okay?
How often should I change the bottle?
You're always going to have two bottles because you always want to have a backup bottle. So depending on how often you use it, remember if you turn it off, water stagnant, then the water brings bacteria, okay?
What kind of water should I use?
You should be using distilled water because it doesn't have any germs or any chemicals or any of that that will cause to get into your airway.
No salt.
No salt, no. Unless the doctor just orders you neb treatments, which will have salt in it, but nothing in here, okay? So you will want to wash this, soak it in 1 part vinegar, white vinegar, 3 parts water for over 30 minutes. So you'll always have 2 bottles on hand. So if you get down to 1 bottle, please make sure you call to get supplies. So what you'll do is, depending on how often you use it, rinse, clean it out, and soak it. They say once a week, but it just depends. If you let the machine sit there for 3 days and it hasn't rained, then that water is stagnant and sitting there growing bacteria. Then you're going to breathe that in your lungs.
Okay.
Okay? Everybody got that?
Yes.
Okay. So there's a few other pieces that you'll put together for this. This is your water trap. What this is going to do is if there's any moisture or water, this is going to catch it, okay? So it's very important that when you get water in this, that you open this and you drain it out. Drain it into a bowl, a garbage can, whatever, but you want to drain this out and then you want to push this back in so it's nice and tight and closed, okay? You don't want this to get filled up. If this fills up, you're going to have excess water in the tubing also, and it's just going to cause this blooping noise, bloop, 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 and you're going to think that something's wrong with the machine. The flow's not going to go through it properly, so you want to make sure that you empty your bags out. You do get 2 bags a month, so every 2 weeks, you can just throw this away and put your other bag on, okay?
And you say I should change it every 2 weeks. How often should I change this?
You should be cleaning this out once a week, washing it out, and you can use 2 of these a month. So you could change this when you change this, when you change this. Okay. That way you're on a schedule and everything is being done at the same time.
So about every 2 weeks.
About every 2 weeks. And this you can wash and reuse. Okay. Okay. If you cross thread it, then you cannot. Okay. So this tubing just hooks up to there. You know, I'm going to use the shorter one. I'm going to use the shorter one so that the water trap's not so far up to the patient. And you kind of want to have it balanced, which my tubes are a little longer. That's only because we're trying to save money and I rigged something together. But you're going to want to put your water trap in line. And you always want your water trap to hang like this. Can you guys see that?
Yes.
So you want, the goal is to get the water in here and not in the tubes, okay? So patient is on oxygen, you're going to get the oxygen adapter that comes with it, okay? That's going to go up to the patient's, by the patient's mask. Okay? And then you have your trach collar. Okay? And then hook this into your trach collar. If they don't have oxygen, then you just leave this out of the line. Okay? So my patient don't have oxygen today. I just wanted to show you the oxygen. So your wife is not going to be on oxygen, so there's no need for that to be in. What you're going to do with this, you have a tighten and a loosen. So you want to undo the snap. Okay, then you want to put it around your wife's neck, and I'm going to show you with your neck. You're going to want to put it around your wife's neck. You're going to want to snap it. Then you're going to want to tighten it. Okay, not too tight, but not too loose. See how it's snug, but it's not too snug. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and have you snap that so you can feel how the snap snaps.
Now, sidebar.
Okay.
Question for you guys. Did you ever put this on a patient?
No.
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 Correct.
You cannot, I can, but you cannot. But you could let the family member do what I just did, and that's okay. Okay, because they're not the patient. You're teaching them. Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. So we'll turn this on. Another thing you guys should do is you can look and you can see the mist, or you can feel it. So you want to make sure, make sure you can feel something coming out of it. Okay? Like I said, it's not that important that you guys worry about all the different settings or changing anything. Just stick to your 35 to 40 for your yellow gauge and your 12 to 15 for your PSI. And remember, always do what to this button?
Lock it.
Lock it.
And I have to stress this. You need to set all this up, turn it on, see it works, verify with a family member that it works, fill out the appropriate forms, and select the appropriate instructions in that Apacheta so that it's documented appropriately that the patient or the family member was instructed. Because if it's not written down, it never happened.
Exactly. And also you want to do another thing is with your bottle, I'm going to take it off here and show you. There's lines that they cannot fill it above. If they gets below this line, they need to put more in it, but they cannot go above that line. Does that make sense? Going above that line can cause a lot of water to come back in their tube. Okay, and then they won't be getting the humidification that they need. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Does anybody have any questions with the compressor?
Yes.
What?
I do, Maria.
Go ahead.
We were told when we were instructed before that when we disinfect it, we treat the bottle the same way we do with a nebulizer. We were 1-to-1, but that doesn't matter. 1 to 3 if you're gonna have water. But it was 15 minutes, not 30. This is the first time I've heard 30 minutes.
Yeah, that's what I was trained with, was 30 minutes. Let it sit in there for 30 minutes or more.
Okay, because we're with our neb treatments and our neb kits, it's 15 minutes. We've always gone by 15, so this would be 30.
Yeah, and I tell all the patients, even with the suction stuff, the canisters and the tubing, to do it for 30 minutes or longer also.
All right.
I just tell the families to buy a basin and just soak them in the sink.
Yeah. And the basic cleaning on everything is the filters, the water bottle is you want to clean it once a week, and the water bottle you'll actually swap out every 2 weeks, but everything going to clean. And also the tubing, the corrugated tubing gets replaced weekly, correct?
It depends. If it's yucky looking and they have a lot of secretions that'll come up in the tube and in the mask, then they can change it once a week. But if not, they can change everything twice a week. That way they're on the same schedule with everything, instead of this is once a week, this is once every 3 weeks, that's once every 4 weeks. It gets to be too confusing. So unless they get this with secretions and yucky, it would just be every 2 weeks. Does that make sense?
Talking about the mask or the corrugated tubing?
The mask, corrugated tubing, all of it.
Every 2 weeks, not weekly.
Right. They can change it weekly if they get it yucky, but they should not get it that yucky that they need to change it once a week. Because if that's the case, then you got to tell them to change everything once a week. Otherwise, it just becomes too confusing, and they're already stressed out from all the anxiety that they have for bringing their patient home as it is. And remember, you guys as the drivers, you're given the basics. So you're starting the foundation. The respiratory therapist is going to go in and build up the rest. So if they didn't hear everything that you had to say, or they didn't understand everything, a therapist comes within 72 hours. And the therapist reviews everything that you did all over again with that patient.
Okay.
The more you teach a patient, the less calls you will get as a tech after hours or even during hours.
And I have to stress this again, go down that forms list under the optional forms and look for plan of care or POC for aerosol compressor, and look for instructions for aerosol compressor. Make sure, and I say this again, make sure that you select those and you get an email address for the patient, because once you select those and you fill it out, the copy of that's deposited with the sales order into Brightree, and that whoever's email address that is, hopefully the patient's, receives a copy of all the paperwork.
Does anybody have any questions about this?
No.
So I'm going to give you
Oxygen tie-in.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. What'd you say?
Your tie-in for your oxygen. I was told do not put it on the mat, put it to the bottle so the patient does not pull the oxygen tubing loose when they move.
Well, I mean, if they're gonna pull the oxygen tubing loose when they move, they're gonna pull this loose when they move. It's all connected together. The reason why I say put the oxygen right up here is because when you have oxygen way down here, you bleed it in. You have all that air that's mixing with the oxygen through this tube going to the patient. The patient's going to get more oxygen if it's like this. And if they're really sick, they're going to have the oxygen closer to them. So in school, we were always taught the closer the oxygen is, the better.
So how do you check at the end of the tube to show that the patient's the right amount of oxygen? If the prescription says it should be 2 minutes there.
Well, the prescriptions with pool mist are always a range, Jerry.
Okay.
So they're never, it should never just say 2 liters. It should be 2 to 4 because we're mixing it with room air. So if you were supposed to get 2 liters and I mix it with room air, you're really not getting 2 liters because it's blending with that room air. So for them, do they have a tester?
They do.
Okay. So what they should do is they should test their oxygen when they put the tubing on, because it could read different between 7 foot, 10 foot, 25 foot, and 50 foot. When you put this on your compressor, you want to put your little gauge on here and check it and see what it's registering and what it's reading. And then you'll know that it's working and put it on the patient. Now, does that make sense, guys?
Yes.
Yeah.
And remember, they have a range. So you guys don't worry so much on the range. Us, usually they put, I think, 2 to 4 on the ticket. So test it for 2, do your little reader thing, make sure it registers at 2, and then you can hook it up to the patient. If the patient desats, then the family can turn it up to 4 liters to make it so the patient stats stay above whatever the doctor ordered, which you guys won't have to know anything about that.
Yeah, you guys know.
Does that answer your question?
High flow patients.
Another trouble, do they troubleshoot or do you guys troubleshoot?
With compressors?
Yeah, the drivers, do they get calls? Or?
Well, generally, if it's a respiratory call, they send to the on-call respiratory therapist. But during the day, sometimes Michael or I will get a trouble call with one of those.
Because a lot of this with the truck, it's either the machine is broke or they have this cross-threaded or this lid isn't on right. So they can't get they won't get the pressure, so it won't allow it to go through. So that's mainly, have you realized that too? It's mainly this, or either they put way too much water in it and now they have all this water overflowing, or they didn't empty out their water trap. So those are a lot of the troubleshooting calls that I have received since I've been here. Another one is, like Craig said, as a tech, before you leave, it's your responsibility to make sure the equipment is working. So if you don't turn this on and have the patient turn it on and you leave, you don't know if it works, if it doesn't work. That's going to be another call that can make a tech have to go back out. So the less that we have to follow up or go back out for calls that we could have prevented, the better for everybody. Does everybody understand?
Yes.
I have one more two-part question, Maria.
Okay.
When they do exchange the water bottle and the drainage bag, should we recommend that they just like set them aside until they get resupplied in case something happens? Because we've had 2 calls where they broke the humidifier bottle off and they have to have another one to, you know, to get it. So we have to run out on a stat just dropping off the bottle because they threw the other one away and they only had 2. Could we recommend they just hold on to it when they do exchange it, just in case something happens to this one before you get resupplied?
My biggest pet peeve is telling the patient you should always have 2 of everything.
Yes. If you have 1, you have none.
You do not have 2 of everything. You need to let us know, because it does not make sense to me to send a tech out to bring a water bottle.
Yep. And then the only other thing is before they plug that machine into wall, the techs have to use their AC/DC tester on the outlet to make sure it's grounded.
Okay, you guys do that? Okay.
Yep.
You do it on everything that gets plugged into the wall, and it must be the wall outlet that they're going to use that piece of equipment on.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Very good.
That's all I have.
All that.
Yep.
Good. Very good.
Thank
So
you.
when you techs are in the house, I know that the families are all stressed out and they're getting ready to get the family members to come home. That's another reason why we were within the 72 hours, we send a respiratory therapist back out to them. So, you know, remember, you're doing the foundation. Within that 72 hours, we don't want to get, 3 calls from one patient for not being taught or not being educated the right way. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So if you get a routine and you just do the, go from top to bottom, do your filters, plug it in, do your, set it, do your water bottle, and you just keep yourself on a routine, you should never miss anything that you're trying to teach or train. Okay? Okay, so next we'll do the portable suction. Okay? So most patients get the portable suction.
I'm going to say something before Maria starts any further. Before you leave the warehouse, function check that machine. I'm finding that sometimes the batteries are bad, or there's not all the cords that are with the machine. If you get somewhere and you don't have all the cords or all the pieces for it, I don't want to hear about it.
What did it say?
He said, when you take a machine out of the office, make sure everything's there. Don't get there and say,
Right.
This isn't in the bag. It's your responsibility.
Okay. So with your portable suction machine, you do have a nice bag, which is very nice. Most families that I see, they just take it out of the bag, but that's so that they could carry it wherever they're going. You have 2 canisters, which I didn't bring both because I had, but you should have 2 canisters, 2 tubings, 1 filter, your suction machine where your serial number is right here, which is very important. And then you have a car adapter and you have your plug. A lot of the patients that I have trouble shot are not aware of this. This is important that you show them and let them know that this is a car adapter that they can plug into their car when they're out to the doctors or wherever they're going. Okay? So you have a car adapter. You can use this in the car. I don't suggest that you leave the suction machine in the car to charge with this. If you need to charge the machine, bring it into your house and plug it into the wall.
This is a good thing. Christmas is coming up. People are moving one house to the next and so on.
And also, when you guys pick this stuff up, it's your responsibility to make sure you get all this stuff back.
Yeah, not this, but all this.
Oh, and yes, this stuff, do we bring this tubing and that canister back to the office?
No.
Everybody?
No.
Very good.
Power cords and machine.
Why don't you bring it back to the office?
Because it's contaminated.
gonna have contamination.
So if it's contaminated, why still don't you bring it back to the office?
Because you're transferring biological agents if you bring it back.
We can't handle contaminated agents.
Now, we don't have a license to dispose of it. That's the real reason. Say you leave it in the house, they can dispose of it in the house legally, we can't. And we don't have a license.
Everyone got that?
Yes.
Besides, you really don't want to be
Yeah,
traveling
yucky.
with people's secretions in your vehicles.
You're doing perfectly good.
So you have your filter, okay? This is changed once a month, okay? You have to call in to get your supplies, but once the respiratory therapist comes, they'll review all that with you, okay? It's always good to tell them numerous times that they need to call us for supplies. That's one thing that they appear to forget. So this will come. You have the two parts. On this side, it's the threading part, the part that you're going to thread into here. This is where your filter goes. With this, you want to make sure that you don't cross thread it also. So you want to hold it and then just twist it. You can take this off. You can take this off if it bothers you and just do this, or you can do it with both of them on. That does not matter at all. But I'm going to let you go ahead and put the filter in. So you let the patient, whoever's learning, people are hands-on for the most part. Get them touching it. The more they touch it and show you they know how to do it, the more you know that they're catching on to it. If you're just talking at someone, they're just like, yeah, okay. And their head is 5 miles away thinking about, I got to get them home. I got to do this. I got to do that. So really get them involved in it. You're going to put this piece here. Okay. Then you have your suction canister. This is very important with your suction canister. If this is not sealed or the proper holes are not with the proper devices, it will not hold a seal and it will not suction. Okay, so it's very important. You have this lid, you want to make sure this lid is on. Nice and snug. Okay, then we'll get to the rest of this. This is your container. Okay, you're going to wash the container, this, and this, soak it in 1 part white vinegar, 3 parts water for at least 30 minutes or longer. And that's why you always have 2, because you're going to take your other one and put all that on here. My suggestion to you is for your first time doing it, do not strip your suction machine. Piece by piece, go ahead and transfer it out until you get the idea of where everything goes. Another suggestion is take a picture of it all together. Then, if you are, for some reason, multitasking and you forget and you rip it all off, you'll have a picture to refer yourself back to, so you'll know what goes where, okay? With your canister, this is very important. You do not want to travel around the house or outside with this canister with secretions in it, okay? Very important, because if you have this canister and you have your secretions up to here, and you have everything on here, and you're moving around, all the secretions are going all over the place, and then they can end up back in the filter, they can end up coming out your hose, getting all over your bag. It's just not sanitary, okay? So you're gonna want to empty it out as much as you can, rinse it out with warm water, dump it in your toilet, and then keep it moving. Another thing you can do is you can add a little Listerine. I don't know if you guys knew that. It cuts out on the smell. So the Listerine, not a lot, just a little. It can be Walmart brand. It doesn't matter what brand it is, but it'll cut down on this being smelly for the patient also, okay? So what do you want to tell the patient not to do with the canister?
Make sure it's empty. Don't let them walk around with it being full.
So your lid, you want to make sure that this is a tight seal. So we're going to go ahead and put the seal on.
I can't pull the PDFs.
The size of the canisters. I know we used to do 500.
This is the only ones we use. So at the hospital, they have the bigger ones, but I've never seen them in home care. So see, put the lid on nice and tight. Then you're going to go ahead and put this in here. Now, what I suggest is, if you're going to be traveling with it a lot, is that you show them how to use the bag also, okay? So you're going to want to see your bag. You don't want to put it in the bag wrong. You have a small section and you have a big section. And I'm not trying to be funny, guys, but I've went to homes and they've had the big end and the small end, and everything's all twisted. The more organized that you can help them be, the less calls you're going to get also. So you want to stick it in here. And the reason why I'm showing you this is because putting it in first is because it's very important with the bag that you put the lid in properly so that the hole is out there.
Ah,
Okay, you see that? It just makes it more convenient for them to get to what they need to get to, and that's what that's meant for. That hole is there so that this lip can stick out. You want to make sure that you put your filter top on, nice and tight, okay? And then you're going to take your tubing, and you're going to put your tubing here on the outside of this, okay? So as you can see, now you have all that. You can wind it up, put your lid on it, and you're good to go. If you need it, you can whip it open, turn it on, and suction. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. One more thing about the suction machine.
Don't run it to that.
Home suction machines are nothing compared to what the hospital is. They're leaving the hospital for the first time. They've never used our home suction machines. They don't suction very well. They're used to the PSI from the hospital, and that bad boy suctions great. This machine is not going to suction like that. And sometimes it's important to let them know that because they're going to be expecting this machine to suction like the hospital machines suction on the wall, and it's not going to happen, and they're going to call and say, my suction machine is not working. When really it's working, it's just nowhere near as powerful as at the hospital because you have medical staff there that are regulating it. When you're at home, you do not, okay? So with that being said, you have a knob right here, okay? See the arrow? How far do you want this knob turned?
All the way.
Exactly. And that's important to keep reminding them. They want this all the way on. If they feel like the pressure isn't coming out as it was before, they should check this. Check their canisters. Check their filter. What's this?
Hey, Maria,
Yeah.
you want that pressure maxed out when set up, not 15?
No, I'm telling you, I had a trach, and I know the machine can go all the way up, and it's not going to hurt the patient. You tell them to turn it all the way up.
Right, and the max they're going to get is between 20 and 22. So don't set it at 15, set it at max, is what you're saying.
That's what I do when I go there. Yep, it's between 20 and 30. That's what it is. But
Yeah.
they don't make, this is not going to hurt a patient in home. They don't make it so that it's going to hurt the patient. In fact, patient secretions are so thick that a lot of them complain that this does not suction that well. And they're not mistaken. They're right. It doesn't. That's why I tell you, just put the max all the way up. And you're going to get a lot less calls that way also. Okay? I was just thinking of something. So you know you have your plug. You know that your plug has to, just like your compressor, you need to make sure this is in secure and snug. Then you plug this into the wall, and then you connect this here. Okay, so I'm going to take it apart, and you can go ahead and show me that you understand that. Okay, now on here, you do have indicators. Okay, what does the indicator tell you?
Yellow or green?
What's that mean?
What?
We couldn't hear the question.
I said, what does this indicator here on your plug tell you?
Whether it's a full charge or not.
Sorry, guys, hold on. I hate turning it on.
Yellow means what?
No, it's right.
So yeah, so what did you say, Michael? I'm sorry about the interruption.
Yellow means it's not fully charged. Green's it's charged.
Exactly. What do you want to tell them to always do when they're at home?
It's always left plugged in unless in use.
Amen. Michael, you're not allowed to answer. No more questions.
Yeah, he took my answer.
Kim's relaying it.
Oh, okay. You had someone sign language in you there. Okay, there was something else that I wanted to tell you. That was troubleshoot, and I can't think of it right this minute. Oh, that's what I wanted to tell you. Yes. Okay. So if a patient says, "Well, how do I know that it's really working? I don't think my machine is working at all." I tell them, get a cup of water. Okay. Put your suction tubing in the water. What's it doing? Oh, it's sucking it right up. The machine works. Your patient must have a lot of thick secretions. That would be one of the problems. Do they tell them anything about this? So they should tell them how to use this in the mouth and all of that. Okay. So and another thing, you want to open this when you're there to show them. Don't just leave it there. You want to open it. Well, and you want to show them how to put it on. Okay? And this does not have a place for you to put your finger, and neither does our other one. So this, once they turn this on, it will just automatically suction. Okay? And do they tell them how to stay? They just make sure. So how would they clean this after they orally suction their mouth?
What are you cleaning with?
Water.
Kim says run it through a cup of water.
Yeah, you can do that.
Then he says disinfect it.
Yeah, with vinegar.
Speak up, Kim.
Vinegar and water, disinfect it. Run it through.
You're right, Kim, but they can, after they suction their mouth, they don't want to leave all that stuff in there. That's disgusting and nasty. So because it's only oral suctioning, they can use tap water or whatever. Because it's oral suctioning, it's not a sterile environment. So they can use just regular tap water is fine.
So just take the disconnector.
Nothing, just put this right in a cup of water, suction it through, the line's all clean. That's going to make it more sanitary for the patient. Okay? So with the canister, I call in and I say, my suction machine is not working. I'm not getting any suction. What would you tell them to do?
Check the canister for cracks and leaks.
Yep. What else could you check?
Make sure all your hoses are connected properly.
Yeah, and I would also suggest to make sure that they don't have this canister filled all the way up.
Yep, make that top one right.
Yep. What's important about this?
Because it's an emergency backup.
Charge in the car.
When they're in the car, they can use this, okay? Should they leave their suction machine in the car charging on this?
No.
Where should they charge it at?
In the house.
Your Smithfield stop can be any kind to drive you home. That's good.
What should you make sure with your red knob?
Matter.
Perfect. It's just easier for them. It's never. Okay.
How should we clean the suction canister?
Oh, you just said it.
Yes, you said
Yeah.
that.
So they get 2 canisters to swap back and forth a month. Some pediatrics gets 4, but you guys deal with the adults only.
Every day.
So they should be on the same regimen that they're on with their compressor. So every week they wash it. Every 2 weeks they swap it out.
Every 2 weeks.
They always have a backup. So when we set them up, they will have enough canisters to get them through if they need to throw one away. But remember, like they said, this breaks off, this breaks off. They should always have a backup with their canisters and tubings. That's just very important.
So do we set them out in the patients once a month?
Yep, once a month, and they have to call in. That's another important thing. I know that the respiratory therapist is going to go and tell them, but the more the patient hears it or the family hears it, the more it's going to get into their brain.
A lot of people take one, right? Yeah. We don't ever take one.
who's checking on it. The therapist follow up with them.
Well, how often is it?
The therapist, it depends on what their insurance is. Medicaid for kids, it's every 2 months. Medicare is every 3 months.
But if you're doing it every 2 months or every 3 months, and you only get 2 canisters and you throw one away.
No, they have to call in every month. You give them your number and they call you, the therapist.
I understand that, but if they don't call in, is there anybody checking? Just people will ask.
Obviously they have to talk to somebody once a month for their supplies.
Listen, most they
So-
talk to, but there's a lot of people who don't call in.
You're right, because I have a lot to call
I
them.
know,
So,
so you,
right, so there may be a loophole that we need to look into.
all right.
Because I know that once we set them up, they're either equipment managed or they're CRS managed. And when they're equipment managed, therapists don't go back out there.
No, they don't. So
So-
that's how I want to try to
Right.
make sure that they're getting
So-
stuff.
And if the families aren't told to call in, they don't know and trust, they will go months without supplies and keep using the same stuff because they have no concept to call in. Okay? Any questions on the portable suction?
No.
All I can say is make sure you function check it before you go out. You have all your cords, and when you pick it up, you have all your cords returning with it as well. Because believe it or not, that's real money we're leaving behind if we don't pick up all the cords.
It's a lot of money.
For some reason, this one appears to always get lost. So it comes back a lot without this. And a lot of patients have said they didn't even know that they had this in their bag. So I like to lay everything out on a table. I mean, they need to see it all. So the easiest way is to just say, can we go sit at your kitchen table? Everything's spread out for them to see. Does that make sense, guys?
Picking up that it's missing, put it on there, make sure you
Questions?
send us an email. We don't, hey, you guys put stuff on patient notes. We don't.
You have any questions, Michael, over there?
Can I ask one?
No, we're good.
All right.
You feel comfortable with that, sir? That's another thing. You want to get confirmation. Do you feel comfortable with that machine, sir?
Yes, I understand.
Wonderful. And remember, another important thing that we forget, every piece of equipment better be labeled with ABC's label on it, not only so that we know it's our equipment, but so that they have a number that they can always call also, okay? So I see a lot of equipment without labels on it. That's very important.
Double check the labels where the tubing connectors are and stuff like that with O2 supplies. Pretty new out of box.
So this is your stationary suction. Stationary meaning this stays in the home. They don't bring this in the car. They don't travel with it. They use their battery portable suction machine for that, okay? So this should always stay plugged in the home. It doesn't have a battery. Once you unplug it, it does not work, okay? So it's important to understand that. You can bring it from room to room if you would like, because this does suction a little stronger than that one, because it's not bringing the battery.
Well, if it's not suction strong enough, how do I turn it up and make it suction stronger?
Yep, well, we'll get right to that, sir. I'm going to go step by each piece, and that's coming up, okay? So this is your plug, obviously. Per your question, right here is your vacuum knob, low or high, okay? You see this, guys? Right here, okay? This is another one that I just turn it up to high for the patient. Now, you can turn it up to high, and you can say to them, if you feel like it's too much pressure, of course, show them that you can turn it down, up or down, okay? So have them turn the knob so you know that they understand that. Which one is high? So meaning high, what do you think meaning high would mean?
That the numbers on that gauge read as high up as far as possible.
Right, so it's going to suction
More.
at a higher pressure. So if you have really thick secretions and you have it on medium, you're going to want to turn it up, okay?
Yep.
And a lot of people, they just turn it up and leave it up, okay? You guys get that?
Yes.
Yes.
And then you want to plug it in because you want to show them what this gauge is about. Because that can save a lot of questions too, of whether it's suctioning or not.
No, I don't think so.
Okay. So there's an on and off button. Where's the on and off button?
On the side.
Exactly, right here. Okay, so here's your on and off button. Here's your canister, same concept as your portable suction machine. If everything isn't sealed, then you're not going to get any pressure. Okay, so there's some, on this canister. What do you need to do with that?
No, I got like 10. Oh, no.
Very good, perfect. And as you see in this canister, everything's in here. So the filter is similar. The filter is similar to the other one, but as you see, it has a lot. It has two pieces, okay? That you're going to want to make sure that these ends are nice and snug, okay? See that? See that? And then you have a port right here on the side. See this port? So you're going to want to put this end in that port.
What's different about that filter?
And then you see why the tubing is so much longer.
What's the other thing?
And come over here to this. And this will shape eventually.
In pointing
And
out,
it has to be
looking
the vent.
you're reading.
See the difference?
Yes.
So it doesn't screw in. So they cannot get the filters mixed up. So when you get your supplies, you can get 1 month of this filter and 1 month of that filter. It's very difficult to confuse which filter goes to what, okay? So you're gonna wanna make sure your canister is nice and snug. Go ahead and make sure that lid's on for me, please.
The other one just.
Then you're gonna go ahead and put this in here. Where
Right.
you
Close to this.
I just said it.
Okay. Is that correct?
I guess.
She done, yeah.
Roger has a question.
Okay.
Roger wants to know if that filter has a in or outside.
No.
A specific way to put that filter in.
No, it's just a filter. Either side is fine. Either way.
Sure says this.
But look at
Unless
the patient.
Has it changed, Maria?
I can't hear you.
it's in.
Maria, has the filter changed? Because it normally had a way it had to be in. It's got an airflow in and out.
Yeah.
It should be marked on the filter.
I didn't even know that, Michael.
That's okay.
It does. See?
And the arrow in should be coming from the canister. That's the way it's drawing the air in from the canister into the machine.
Reading.
And the out should be closest to the machine.
So the black battery,
Yeah, the in is the way the airflow is coming into it. Right. So the in should always be facing the canister.
everybody got that?
Yep.
Okay. And it does say in right there in very little letters.
I just wonder if it changed.
Nope.
Yep.
Michael, thank you.
Yeah.
Good question, Roger.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Roger.
Yeah.
So this is how
Get that money.
Craig has it hooked up. Is that right?
No.
Where she got
What's wrong with this?
Dwight help you on the
Got to the wrong end.
She's got the inlet port plugged into
Gotta keep you on your toes.
the side of the canister.
So
Plugged into the hose.
plug that in there.
Mhm.
You'll get nowhere to have your suction tubing.
You got funny pictures of it. Here's one's like a person, you got a stick person, and the other one is
Go ahead and hook your tubing up to there.
action or something.
Is it here?
I've had people call in,
Up there and then get no suction.
that thing plugged into the side, and they've got
I got a live one over here, guys.
the
It's
top
not,
port.
not gone out.
Okay, so everybody see this.
I'm telling you what, it's not the
Everybody see?
Beautiful.
beauty.
Okay?
You got all the caps plugged?
A lot of work. So then what else would you want to do?
So are we cranking that one up too?
Yeah.
Yes, max.
Please turn it.
Use more power.
Maxing your suction.
This came right out of the mouth. Hope you have another one on your truck.
She cracked the fence.
Turn that down and make sure it works. Leave the house.
Would you take that patient after your
We're losing you.
Yeah, can't hear you.
When he turned the suction machine on, it made all kinds of noises like click, 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 click. Would you take this suction machine to a patient?
No.
Oh,
No.
Okay, go ahead and turn it on again for me. So we're gonna act like it's working fine. So what I want to show you is right up here.
First time, it's bringing him out of the box. I would turn it on like 5 or 6 times, make sure that's on my way. I'm leaving that machine there. That was the first time. They just took those out of the box, right?
yeah.
Yeah, it's brand new.
I think so. I gotta go to Richmond.
So it's not suctioning. What could be a problem?
Okay.
Coming down.
What could be the problem? It's not suctioning.
This is from the back. We're all in a meeting.
It's what?
Canister.
Chris and Rico were still here though.
Yeah,
They should be in the warehouse.
they got an in-service actually.
You said she didn't have any suction? But you covered up the tubing?
So see? You would have brought this machine and we're trying to, now we have to troubleshoot it, which is good because now you can show the patient how to troubleshoot it. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start from the beginning because we got pressure when Craig did this. So it can't be anything with this machine. It has to be something with these parts.
You start at the source and work your way out.
Always.
So you're gonna strip it and start all over again.
Down in the machine.
Go ahead and take that canister.
Canister was bad.
That's why it's about suction.
Is that like that?
You broke it. You broke it, Maria.
No, I think it was like that.
I think it was like that, and that's why we weren't getting any pressure.
Oh.
Very brittle.
So see, it's easy. It's easy to just miss that. Yep. So now we're going to use our backup. So now that we used our backup, what are you going to do, sir? Now that you're using your backup, what are you going to do?
We're gonna test it.
We'll call Maria.
Yeah, they're gonna call us. Call.
You're going to call and see if it's time for your supply.
I need more stuff.
You're using duct tape. You cover up that hole.
It's a new flex stuff.
Okay?
We only have one.
It's drawing air in.
Yeah.
If it's just a hole, you can cover it as an emergency.
Yeah, so if you have nothing, no other suction.
Is it?
I don't know. I don't know if enough duct tape would do anything to help that. That's pretty.
I bet duct tape would fix it. Only 20 pounds of pressure. Really? Even better.
Go watch it. Like that.
Now it's got 30.
That was the problem.
And it's easy to not, I mean, me and Craig both touched that canister and neither one of us even realized that. So that is how easy it is to miss something. So you just strip it all and you just start over.
But you start from the source, work your way out, just like with a concentrator. If you can get them to take it apart at the nipple and then work your way out, that's usually how you find the problem.
Because it's usually a kink in the hose. Does anybody have any questions about that?
No.
How often do you wash these?
Every day. Every day.
Daily.
Daily.
Cramping it. Wash.
Put them out every 2 weeks.
You wash it once a week, 3 parts water, 1 part white vinegar. You change it out
Say daily.
every 2 weeks, just like your compressors. So you can be on the same schedule with everything. And when the therapists go, when I go anyways, I just have them write it on a calendar. That way they don't forget it. They have a lot going on. You guys don't have to go that deep into it because the therapist. What can you put in here to cut down the smell?
Mouthwash.
Exactly.
Even from Walmart.
Yes, even Walmart's brand, Jerry.
All right, guys.
Wait.
Questions of Maria?
No.
So I have a question. I know I'm not supposed to ask one. After they use that at the end of the day, aren't they supposed to empty that canister out though?
Yeah, well, they should be emptying it out throughout the day. The canister is the same as the other canister. You don't want it to get more than that. This is stationary, so for it to get like up to here, it's not, they're not moving it all over the house like the other one. It's fine if it goes up to here, but they need to be dumping that in the toilet and rinsing this out with warm, hot water and then putting it back in and putting more Listerine in it.
And then just disinfecting it every 2 weeks.
Once a week you disinfect it, you dispose of it every 2 weeks.
Y'all got that?
Does that make sense, guys?
Yep.
What do you disinfect it with?
White vinegar and water.
30 minutes, vinegar and water.
How much white vinegar? And you have to say white vinegar, guys, because they'll be going out there and they'll be getting the brown vinegar and it'll be all sticky.
3, 1 to 3.
Did she say 30 minutes again?
3 to 1.
Yeah,
3 to 1.
3 to 1. 3, 1 to 3.
Any other questions?
I have one thing, and it has nothing to do with the actual equipment. So it's my understanding that when RTs go out, they have a checkoff sheet that checks off explanation of each piece of the equipment, and also a checkoff sheet showing what they have left at the house, basically the car cord, the power cord. Can we do that for the patient care techs as well?
Yeah, they're well, I guess we could, but in Apacheta, there's forms that they will highlight or select the plan of care, and I'm gonna look at that after this meeting, Lucy, and see what exactly the verbiage is, but it makes them makes the patient basically sign that they were instructed. The list of supplies that they leave should be verified by the sales order.
So what I'm thinking is, like, I saw that there was the car charger. Is that, the patient could say, I never received a car charger. I mean, is this something that's documented that we give a car charger or a power charger?
It's on the sales order.
Okay.
Yes.
No, it's not.
Piece is on the sales order.
The car charger's on the sales order?
No.
I've never seen.
No, it's not.
No.
But on your instruction sheet, it says that you instructed them on the use of the suction machine with a battery. So I mean, it goes without saying that if you instructed them on it, that you had to show them both chargers. I think it's more implied, but it is not on an order. Chargers are not on an order.
Well, here's what I would say for the workaround for that would be on your patient notes section, on your patient note form, make sure you can make a note on there saying that you delivered the car charger with it.
That covers you.
All right.
Instruction used on ACDC.
Hey, Joint Commission will be here next year.
Yeah.
In 2018, they will be here. They can be here anytime from basically January. They'll be here. How do you prove that you have shown a patient? How do you know a patient knows how to use the equipment? What do you do?
This is a competency check for the plan of care that we have them sign off on.
Okay, you have them sign the competency sheet, but patients will sign anything when you give them a piece of paper. So how do you know the patient knows how to use the machine?
They should be demonstrating it back to you as you're teaching them.
Absolutely correct.
Gold star for
Michael.
you.
Perfect.
That's exactly what they always have to do. They always have to demonstrate it back to you. And if Joint Commission is here, that is very important. Okay, you go into the house and the patient has a suction machine. They also have a concentrator. They also have a bed, and a wheelchair. But they only got a problem with the suction machine. You only look at the suction machine.
You're looking at everything.
No, while you're there, you can do an assessment to check all equipment while you're already there, make sure everything's functioning properly.
That's exactly what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to check all the equipment while you're in the house. And Joint Commission is going to do that. Where do you put oxygen tanks?
Say again?
What's the question?
Where do you put oxygen tanks in a home?
laying down and at least 3 feet away from anything that is electrical or could be a fire hazard.
No,
Say 5
that's
feet.
not true. What else? What else?
Say 5 feet. Where
Be sure not to put them in a closet. Anywhere.
Right.
5 feet. 25 feet. 25 feet from a outlet. Nobody's asking.
Got to be 5 feet from the electrical outlet. You can't put them there.
You guys do that.
5 feet.
No confined spaces.
Where else do you not put them? If the
In the
patient
closet.
Open flame.
I just said that.
has a fireplace, where do you put them?
Dang it.
I saw people last year, honestly, when I was out, they were putting oxygen tanks right next to a fireplace.
Jason put them on the fireplace.
Not
The
this guy.
fireplace doesn't work. No, don't worry about it.
Well, I mean, when you leave, they're going to put them where they want. But the important thing is that when you walk in the house and you see that,
Fireplace.
re-educate them that that's not proper.
So if you're giving them 10 tanks, where do you tell them to store the tanks?
Put it next to the fireplace, I'll move them here.
Somebody got a small house and they want it in the closet.
Kinda hear it.
Really gonna argue? Was there a question?
Yeah.
Where, if you give a patient 10 tanks of
Right.
oxygen,
You go back out there and that's where they are. Then you warn them in the document.
I'm talking about like a one room apartment.
Yeah, yeah.
They're like, this is where I want, this is where I want you to put.
okay, listen to the question, please, and then answer the question. If
It
you
comes in and out, we're having trouble hearing.
We didn't hear the question, Jerry, in Chesapeake.
No, you keep talking. So listen, if you give a patient 10 tanks of oxygen, where do you tell them to store them so that they're stored safely?
Well, we just talked 5 feet from an outlet, not near any flames. I mean, not in closets. I thought we already answered that.
No, you still, so do you just leave them standing?
No. I
Put them on
mean,
their side.
I'm sorry, no, lay them down. I mean, that's kind of common.
Secure.
Yeah, they're
3
secure.
points of contact.
Okay.
3 points of
Tell
contact.
Joint Commission that you've got to lay them flat on the ground, or they have to be in a container.
Right, and 3 points of contact.
Yeah. Okay.
That's important because I go to houses and I see tanks just hanging right there.
Yeah, well, once I leave, they do what they do.
Big safety hazard. And Michael, you're right. They're going to tell you that they want them here or they want them there. You're going to teach them the right way. What they do when you walk out that door, you have no control over it. So whoever goes back to visit them just continues to educate them. Does that make sense?
Yes,
Yeah.
and the techs are told when they do deliveries, if they notice that tanks aren't placed in the proper way, that it's documented and they refresh them, but they do document it.
Exactly.
The patient knows.
You have to re-educate, and you have to know that you have re-educated the patient. Listen, I'm going to be out with all you drivers. Okay? So I guarantee you better pay attention, because when I go out there, I expect you to be able to do all the stuff in the home. Okay? I did see last year oxygen tanks being put next to gasoline.
Interesting.
Wow.
Really interesting, right?
I see it a lot in garages. The temperature changes a lot. If there's going to be an extreme change in temperature, it shouldn't be in that place either.
If a patient comes to your facility and you're putting 10 tanks in the car, where do you put the tanks?
Backseat on the floorboard.
Backseat, not in the trunk.
Not in the trunk. Absolutely not in the trunk.
But patients are gonna, when you
Yep.
walk away, put them in the trunk. But as long as you're doing what you need to do and you're documenting, you're covering yourself. That's what's important. Educating them is important also, but you have to cover yourself, because anybody is going to say, he never told me that. And if we can't prove that you told them, we don't have a leg to stand on.
Yep. All right, guys. Well, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it. Michael, I need you to start a sign-in sheet and put it with CRS and that it was a suction and compressor, and get that circulated so everybody can sign it. We get in their training books.
Already done.
Make sure that John in Richmond and Matt in Charlottesville gets it as well.
Thank you, guys.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
God,
All right, thank you.